First question of the day is going to be pricing trends. And also, I should note that the agenda is posted to your left, and this will be showing the brief timeline of how we'll be going through the PowerPoint and which questions are next. Question number one, what pricing trends are you seeing today, and how are they impacting your role or business? For this question, I think we're going to start at the distributor level with Ryan.
Thank you, John. So after COVID, we saw historical low pricings across almost everything in the nutraceutical market. That being said, though, post-COVID, markets are starting to increase on numerous different ingredients, mainly because of the raw material supply out of the manufacturing side. Prices have slowly increased 5, 10, 15%, and they will continue to do that for the next coming months. Main reason for that, there's a lot of shutdowns of manufacturers, reduced supply to the market, increasing, overall cost of raw materials. Previously, there was a lot of raw material on the market. That's what's really caused the very low price for everybody. Distributors had a lot of raw material on hand, contract manufacturers and brands had a lot of finished goods still in their warehouse and at the store level. So all those coupled really decreased the price of the raw materials because people need to sell more material. So you start reducing your costs. Now that's over. People have reduced a lot of their inventory. Manufacturers have continue to wipe out the low-cost inventory that they had on hand. Distributors did the same thing, contract manufacturer, and so on and so forth. So now, over the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to see increased pricing that's already starting to happen. Vitamin C is a very good example on that one. We saw historical lows in the mid-2s, possibly even a little bit lower. Now we're seeing the market already trending into the $4 a kilo range and will likely continue to increase. That's a direct cause from manufacturers shutting down for maintenance. There's, only a couple manufacturers in that space that really control a lot of that inventory. So therefore, it's starting to increase the price across the board on multiple different products. So that's really where the market is trending currently in the price side for the raw materials.
Interesting. No, it's definitely been a roller coaster of price movement volatility since COVID. Jacob, how is that affecting your side? What are you seeing today, and how is that changing your role in business?
Hits us from numerous factors, but I definitely think that it's always important to take a look at what do you specialize in? Especially when it comes to categories, what are the most commonalities in regards to the goods that you produce, as well as the raw materials that you supply. So doing initiatives with somebody like Ryan, and also other supply chain groups that we work with, distributors, and kind of doing bid categories. If Ryan specializes in amino acid production, am I going to bid out all 15, 20 of my top amino acids to try to reduce those costs on that side? So it's all about strategy, communication with your customer. What do they specialize in? What trends are they seeing? What ads are they running? Right now, we're primarily being affected on the pea protein as well as the whey protein isolate side. So with the anti-dumping laws right now on pea protein, to see historical highs from $4 a kilo to start to reach up to all the way to $7.50, and only going to continue to increase, that's where talking to your customer, locking in contracts, making sure that you also have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 suppliers to be able to pivot and make moves. The whey protein isolate right now, I talked to the 3 main suppliers that are in this space, and 2 of them are sold out all the way through Q4. So that's a very interesting challenge. We have another supplier that does have some space and availability up until Q4, and then from there, they don't know, but it's like each purchase order that price continues to increase. So we're primarily dealing with issues on that side, and then as well as berberine, just because of the TikTok trend analysis that kind of hit, being dubbed nature's Ozempic. Berberine price went from anywhere from about, depending on if you're buying regular or granular, $85 a kilo to now $120, $130, $140, because the demand in that trend is actually just it's not slowing down. So important trends to stay in tune with There was an interesting article that I read about the Dr. Oz effect versus the TikTok effect, to where Dr. Oz, you would see these increased spikes in pricing, and then within months it would kind of plummet and never recover. What they are seeing with TikTok is typically that trend is only going to dip about 10% year over year. So to see an 80% plummet in something like raspberry ketones when that was at its historical high to where now it's not even a material that's used that much, staying in tune with trends, social media platforms, and being able to communicate to your suppliers with relationships like Ryan. Hey, we just locked in, a massive opportunity on berberine. What contracts can we get in place, and what can we do? Creative solutions to be able to pivot, but that comes from being tight with your raw material suppliers as well as your consumer to be able to get creative, brainstorm. What can we work on together? If I spend more money with Ryan on 5 other materials, can we offset some potential price increases on that one that may affect our bottom line the most?
All right, so Cale, we got prices going up. There's no, decline in sight. We got contract manufacturers trying to navigate shortages and challenges and to get you the product. What does this all mean for you? I mean, you guys are trying to keep the price, to where the market can still consume it, not pricing that out of your customers' hands. So how are you managing all this?
Yeah, it's John, I think like on the brand side, the customer really isn't as attuned to the nuances of the price change across ingredients or maybe manufacturing, et cetera. The thought of I purchased a green supplement at $29.99 for the last 3 years is like, why am I not purchasing at $29.99 anymore, right? And so really on the brand side, it's like there's kind of this compression effect of okay, either some sort of expectation on profit is going to change on that product based on some rising cost, or you've got to go down the supply chain. You've got to figure out how to kind of recapture what you think you might lose. So I think from a brand perspective, we're going to see kind of an increased collaboration. I mean, this is one of the things that when you're working in a really strong partnership with a manufacturer, you're working with someone like a Jacob, someone like Ryan, where you have a really good, like vertically aligned supply chain. You actually have the opportunity to, as a collaborative effort, go chase these things and just be really transparent about what the goal of each group is, right? Like the brand's trying to maintain a certain profit that allows for them to advertise and convert. But they're in the best place they can be if the manufacturer and the raw material suppliers are not so stretched thin that they have no movement and they don't see it as good business. So I think we're going to see kind of this continued increase in interest on the brand side to really dive into the supply chain. I mean, advertising costs are much higher than they were even a couple of years ago. So we're definitely seeing like increased advertising costs, but we also have like way more brands out there too. And so the options are more competitive. The space to sell those options in, I mean, go to any store that's selling energy drinks right now and just look at like the open space. Yeah, there is none, right? Because like everyone and their mom is trying to get an energy drink into some sort of cooler. So I